you gravitate to Jalen Hurts at both places. My only question is, does he have the skill? Hey, It's great for everyone to love you, Mike, but you and I know this. Once you're inside the hash marks, does he have the skill set to play? What do you think of him?
Yeah, you could like a guy all you want, but can you play? That's a determining factor.
Very apparent that I think the O-line, if anything, that's the group that's going to struggle the most. Let's bring in our friend here, Mike Golic, and let's see if Mike agrees. Mike, Hall of Famer, and we appreciate you coming aboard with us so much. Mike, I had Lincoln Kennedy on with us in the last hour, and I asked him what he thought COVID and what area of the football team would end up hurting the most as they go into getting these kids into OTAs, mini camps, and training camp. And he said the offensive linemen. Mike, they have limited time as it is during the training camp. COVID, developing that group is almost as more difficult as developing a quarterback,
Well, yeah, it is. I would probably agree. I would say right there would be if your plan is to start a young quarterback, then that's obviously going to be very difficult. Now, a guy like Joe Burrow handled it extremely well last year, even until he blew out a knee. We're not talking about that part of it. We're talking about the mental aspect of picking up the game, because that quarterback has to know everything. So there's the one person that has to know everything, and then there's the five guys that have to do everything together. So, I mean, that's like, just think of an oversized ballet. That's what the offensive line needs to be. Not pretty in some instances, but yes, I would agree. Outside, again, of a young quarterback that's expected to start, and I don't think Mac Jones is going to be that guy. I don't think Trey Lance is going to be that guy. I don't think Justin Fields is going to be that guy. Trevor Lawrence is going to be that guy in Jacksonville, where he's handed the ball right out of the gate. So that could be an issue. But, yes, the O-line as a group, without question, that'll affect them.
Mike, tell me if you agree or disagree. I said earlier that I think the move of the offseason was in San Francisco, and the fact that they were able to keep Garoppolo and go out and get their guy at the third pick. And I get it. Look, he's missed 53% of his games. I'm talking Jimmy G. There's no way you can go into a regular season any longer preparing this guy and the football team knowing that he may miss half the year. That being said, he's 22-8. You got a young quarterback from North Dakota State. I think that's the move of the offseason, keeping both those guys on the roster.
Well, I think, and the good thing about it is, let's go back to when Jimmy G signed that. Remember, all we heard, it was a team-friendly deal. And this is where you benefit from a team-friendly deal, where you can keep him and you're on a rookie wage scale for, the rookie quarterback. So, I think the last class before the rookies came in, Sam Bradford was the number one pick. You're guaranteed $50 million, and you have a kind of a hefty, nut right out of the gate. Well, here you don't, with a rookie quarterback, so you can deal with this a little more. And to what extent, I don't know, but you've heard their GM. Why is he drawing a blank on me? John Lynch. Saying, hey, we've been up front with Jimmy G this whole time. And you really hope that's true. You hope there's open lines of communication. And Jimmy has to know it as well. Listen, okay, when I'm out there, we win more than we lose, but I'm missing a lot of games. You can't really, hitch your wagon completely to a guy like that when you can't count on him. You know that line. I mean, we've all heard it as players, the best ability is availability. You could be the best player in the world, but if you're in the tub, it don't matter. So I think San Francisco did the right thing, but they have the buffer. Anytime you don't have to start a rookie quarterback, especially with a team like San Fran, who can win now. They're getting Bosa back. I know they lost some guys on defense to trades and free agency, but they get Bosa back. They obviously have Kittle. They have a passing game. They can have a running game, get that O-line worked out. They can win now. If you have a rookie quarterback out there, even the veterans in the locker room know it's not going to happen at a great rate. So let's see what Jimmy can do. I agree.
How about this, Mike? I hear everyone talking what's going on up in Green Bay, and follow me here and tell me, I think it's more of a story, Mike, instead of just one thing. I mean, go back last year. You trade up to get the quarterback. Does that really aggravate him? Maybe. Then you watch him in the NFC Championship game. They give up that 7 points going into the halftime. They don't go for it on fourth down. There's constant bickering. You saw how the relationship ended between Favre and how it began with Aaron Rodgers. There's like an MO in Green Bay on how they really move off of people, how they deal with people there. And I say this to you, it's because you can't run a football team by committee. For 30 years, Mike, you've had two guys, Brett Favre and you've had Aaron Rodgers, and you win 2 Super Bowls, albeit great. But these are generational players.
Yeah.
I think they underachieve because they're run by committee. Am I off base?
Oh, they absolutely underachieve, without question. Now, we know they're the ones that are owned by the public, but they have a management team in place. We get that. And I even think it goes back before that. I forgot the person's name in the management that Aaron liked, and they got rid of him. Aaron talked about how we really like this one receiver. They got rid of him. And we know there's only been second round or later wide receivers. Now, granted, some of those wide receivers have panned out and done really well, but you really wait for them to load up with the weaponry around Aaron and take advantage of those years, and you just don't feel like they did that. And Aaron is always one of those anyway who found a chip on his shoulder. Aaron, I think, is pretty quick with a fuse if he doesn't like something. And I know we've heard Ron Wolf talk about it and others talk about it, that kind of the old men on the porch saying, oh, these guys are all divas today. And we hear about quarterbacks want more control. And I probably fall somewhere in the middle. Do I think that a team should ask your franchise quarterback what they should do? Well, if you want to have a conversation with them, that's fine. But it doesn't mean you've got to listen to them. I mean, to sit there and say, well, this quarterback wanted this and they didn't do it. Well, tough. I mean, sorry, it doesn't work that way in the real world all the time, okay? I mean, I wasn't, who's your boss or my boss is, I wasn't, you can give input. I gave input a ton at ESPN, and I joked about it a lot. A lot of times it was okay, yeah, and nothing was ever done. So you can say it all you want. Aaron Rodgers, to me, I was asked on Twitter, where's Aaron Rodgers going to play next year? And I said Green Bay. I do not think he is leaving Green Bay, because if he truly wants another Super Bowl, where's he going to go? Where is he going to go where he's got a better chance to win a Super Bowl, unless he goes maybe to like a New Orleans all of a sudden? But I mean, there's not a lot of spots out there for Aaron to go other than the 13-3 team he's been on the last 2 years.
Mike, do you agree that, Tom Brady kind of like opened up the jar a little bit for these quarterbacks? And when you're paying north of $40 million now, and you're in a position now where these guys almost are like sitting at the board of directors table with you. And like you said, I'm not going to ask the guy who I'm going to draft, but I'm going to tell the guy, maybe this is our direction here, because he's a board of directors guy now. And do you think when you see Russell Wilson and you see Aaron Rodgers and what Tom Brady did by going and leaving New England, going down and getting his way and having the organization with Jason Light put everything around him, you think that's going to be a new wave, or do you think that's just a Brady thing?
No, I think it's – listen to all the guys you mentioned. These are all guys who have been around a long time and have had success. So they've kind of earned their stripes. This isn't something for a third-year quarterback to be doing. And we know – and I say third-year quarterback, you're kind of still on your rookie deal. Even after you get past that deal, is all of a sudden next year when Pat Mahomes' new deal kicks in, does he get a seat at that table? Did he have it last year? Is Andy Reid, breaking bread with Pat Mahomes on what he wants to do? I don't think he is. They're maybe having conversations. So I think they're, and I don't know if people really dig it, because I think people still have the employer thing, but do you earn a seat at that table? I guess, is that the question? And the three guys you mentioned, if that, in fact, they get a seat at that table now, again, not to make decisions, but to be involved in some conversations and try and have some input, I think that's a seat that has to be earned over time.
Let's go to Cleveland here. And, I said this about Baker Mayfield. To me, when I saw him get that job, and Alonzo Highsmith, who I played with at UM, was in the personnel office there with John Dorsey. And I told High, man, I thought he was a high school cheerleader. I thought he was immature. But, Mike, there was something about the kid after Beckham goes down after week 8. I went like this, I started doing, more. I started going like this. Wow, he's not throwing his team into trouble here. He sees the guys behind him at Kareem Hunt, and he sees Nick Chubb. He knows what he's got around him. I thought that Stefanski did a really nice job at aiming him in the right direction down that yellow brick road of success. And that's why they picked the option up of 18-8. I went, yeah, I'm good, but still I'm doing this, Mike. This is a year for me that whether or not I'm going to give him the keys to the franchise to think that guy can win a Super Bowl. Is that how you see him?
Yes. I mean, 1,000%. There was a kind of a growing period. I think players, he leads well almost to a fault. And the fault early on was when the coach got fired and then got hired by Cincinnati, and he ripped them for taking a job from Cleveland to Cincinnati. Hey,
Hugh
dude,
Jackson.
Listen, yeah, I mean, come on. This is what happens. You lose a job, you go somewhere else. A player on the team wanted out, and he was calling the guy a traitor and all that. And that he even had some veterans pull Baker aside and say, listen, you don't do that garbage here, okay? That's some rah-rah college or high school stuff. That doesn't work in this league. Men are trying to get jobs in different places. So I do think he learned from that. I do think players gravitate toward him. He's got enthusiasm. People won't want to call it rah-rah, but he backed it up last year. But I'm still with you. So we saw a good rookie year. We saw a bad sophomore year. And last year we saw him start to play a little bit better. But I give Cleveland credit. They built around him incredibly well. They set him up to succeed. To me, this is the year. Pick up the option. I get it. It buys you a little bit of time. But this is the year. Which direction is he going to go in? Because right now, and I give credit to Barry, who has helped build this team, is I think this could be the third-ranked team in the AFC. I don't know if you agree. I mean,
no, I do.
Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cleveland. I'm trying to think of who else. Pittsburgh's line is decimated, O-line, and Ben, who knows, how he's coming back yet again. So I think they're set up well, but I think this is that big year for Baker.
Mike, I want to get to Jalen Hurts here, and I'm going to start this out. I don't want to load the question up for you here, but what I love about this kid, okay, now some would say this, he surrendered and put his hand up and wanted to get out of Alabama. I don't look at it like that. He was a great teammate there. He played for Coach Saban. Then he goes to a completely different organization. He goes to a different mindset. He goes to Lincoln Riley's offense there with Oklahoma. He becomes a star. And Mike, we talk about people gravitating. You gravitate to Jalen Hurts at both places. My only question is, does he have the skill? Hey, yeah. It's great for everyone to love you, Mike, but you and I know this. Once you're inside the hash marks, does he have the skill set to play? What do you think of him?
Yeah, you could like a guy all you want, but can you play? That's a determining factor. And real quickly about leaving schools, I don't give a damn about that. You know what? These guys get 4 or 5 years to get seen if they want to play at the next level and get some play in and some time in. So coaches do it all the time. They sign a 5-year deal, 2 years later, they're gone to a better opportunity. And I know people say, well, they're coaches, they get paid, it's their job, they can't. You know what? The player has that ability to do it, and I have no problem when a guy thinks that he could try and better his stock by going somewhere else. So let me get that out of the way. I don't have a problem at all. Jalen, man, jury's out. We haven't seen enough. Listen, the sample size isn't enough. So do I know with him? No. Do I know with Tua, guys like that? No. But here's what I keep saying, Dan. And it's tough to generalize because I did it about Big 12 quarterbacks for a while. For a while there, I was like, name me a Big 12 quarterback that had done well in the NFL. Now, Mahomes certainly is doing that. Baker Mayfield is trending toward that. Yeah. Kyler Murray, he has to become a better passer still. With the running game, he's doing great. Arizona's usually up there, but he's gaining 800-900 yards. But he's still trending in a good direction. So I say this when people ask me about Justin Fields or Tua or Jalen Hurts or Mac Jones. I said, name me the last Ohio State or Alabama quarterback taken high that has turned out to be anything in the NFL. And I say that with the caveat of I don't want to generalize, and you could get a difference here in Justin Fields or with Jalen or with Tua. But right now, it's a pretty good sample size. And of that sample size, zippo. None in the last, however many years has come in and done a great job.
Mike, I've said this, and you know what? I get so much blowback on this. In 130, including from Spielman, from 132 years that Ohio State has had a program, they've never had one guy go into the NFL. And don't give me Art Schlichter or any of these other dudes.
Come on.
Those guys were bums, man. I'm like, Mike. And they're going, well, you're recruiting the program instead of the kid. Okay, maybe I miss on the Jerry Rice at Mississippi Valley State.
Right.
But I might miss on him, but I'm not going to miss on Andre Johnson from Miami or DeAndre Hopkins or any of these other guys from these big programs like Notre Dame or Miami. I'm not going to miss with these kids. Am I wrong when I look at Justin Fields and I go like this? Hey, good luck to you, man. I don't see it.
You know what? What I say is looks good, but we said that about other quarterbacks coming out of Ohio State. We said it about other quarterbacks coming out of Alabama, right? Looks good, but then what happens? We don't know. Anybody sitting there trying to say the kid goes from college to the pro, we have no idea. But when I ask that question, and whoever I'm talking to, I say, give me the last Ohio State or Alabama quarterback. You know what answer I usually get?
Namath.
Namath and like Kenny Stabler. You know? I mean, I'm like, okay, that's my point. And again, Justin Fields could turn out to be great. Tua or Jalen maybe will. But all we have is the sample size. And I know, as I said, you can't generalize, but the sample size has been a pretty good one for both these schools. It hasn't really panned out from first rounders. Again, I'm saying from guys drafted in a position where the expectation is that you are going to do well at the next level.
Final question for you, Mike. I say this about Dak Prescott. I really like Dak. I think Dak is a really great face of the Cowboys. I mean, no question about it. But prior to his injury in that Giants game last year, they're lucky to win that Atlanta game. They are a sieve on defense. They are paying, get this, they're paying now $42 million for the quarterback. They're paying $18 million for the running back, and they're paying another $20 million for Amari Cooper. You got a $182 million salary cap. Mike, before I even get to the offensive line, I'm at $110 million. I just don't see the Cowboys in a position to build a team around him that's a Super Bowl contender. Do you agree?
Well, I mean, that happens when you pay everybody else before your quarterback. You know, because you knew you were going to pay your quarterback, and then you paid everybody else, and you really hamstrung yourself. Now, are you missing a window, especially on the O-line? That O-line that you paid that had literally 4 first-rounders on it, you know, save for an off-the-field incident, would have been 4 first-rounders in La'el Collins. But these guys now are all hurt. You know, they're nicked up. They're not the line they used to be. The defense was a sieve. So I get keeping Dak because you need a quarterback, because I'll always ask the question, when everybody was at Romo saying they need to move on from Romo, my question was, okay, where are you going? Who are you getting? Who's filling the spot? And if you're paying all these people already, that means you're in the win now mode. You're not paying, as you mentioned all the numbers. You're not paying that to all those guys to be rebuilding. You're paying that to win now. So Dak had him over the coals. Dak, you knew they had to pay Dak. You're not paying those other guys to bring in a rookie quarterback. You're just not doing it.
Hey, Mike, so finally here, has your body adjusted to not being a vampire and getting up in the morning and, like, you know what, going to bed like a 10-year-old where you go to bed at night? Have you adapted?
Dan, it's unbelievable. I'm getting up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I mean, I'm going to get back into this. I'm going to get back into shows. I don't know if I'll get back into a morning show, though, because 4:15 for like 25 years was a bit much. And let me tell you, waking up and looking out and seeing the sun out and not being sitting in the studio is pretty damn nice. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, man, I did it for 20 years too, Mike. I mean, look, I used to think I was a vampire, and I used to think I was 10 years old going to bed. Brother, I thank you so much for finding time. I can't wait to see what your next venture is, and thank you for doing this. Thank you, Mike.
You got it, Dan. No problem. See it.
You got it. Mike Golic there. Yeah, we'll take a brief time out. Your boy Dan Cilio. You keep it right here on the National Football Show.